here and I've gotten really great answers. So I'm going to ask you, in your 20 years, what is the weirdest thing you've had to basically just stand and say in front of a microphone?
In a convention or while I'm working?
While working.
Probably the weirdest thing I ever had to say was in a show called Gurren Lagann. The thing that still made it to a show, not the stuff that ended up on the floor because I can't say it in this room. For those of you who don't know that show, he's a robot mechanic and he's in touch with his feminine side. And my favorite thing was when he told the director, who's a very good friend of mine and very, very straight and very conservative, and he said, okay, now you have to do this as gay as you possibly can. And the line was, when you screw it in, give it a hard, manly twist. And so I did. Very different from Wolverine, right? Yeah. Balance, it's all about balance.
Next one.
Mr. Blum, well, since you're the greatest voice actor in the history of mankind, I'd like to ask you, who's your favorite voice actor?
Oh, man. Well, first of all, my son is Mr. Blum. He's a teacher. I'm just Steve. Secondly, my favorites, well, I loved Mel Blanc growing up. But in recent history, I would say Frank Welker. And for those of you who don't know Frank Welker's work, he's the voice of Scooby-Doo and Freddy and every animal you've ever heard in every Disney movie. He's one of the most talented, amazing human beings I've ever known, and a really, really nice guy. And when I first met him, I was working on Scooby-Doo, and I had my fanboy moment. I think I actually... And he was so great. He gave me his phone number, and he said, you know, if you ever need advice or anything, just give me a call. And he's that kind of guy. And then I got to work with him in Transformers Prime. He's my Megatron, Starscream. That was my little fanboy dream come true. But I love everybody. There's so many people in the industry that are so incredibly talented. All of my friends, when I'm working in the room with them, I will just sit and as they're going at the microphone, I'll just go, oh my God, that was amazing. And we all do that for each other. That's the great thing about the industry, is that we're all fans and we love each other's work. So I'm blown away every single day by the talent in the rooms. It's cool. Thank you.
Hi.
Hi.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me here.
How much of you is in each and every character you play? Do you think there's a connection between you and the characters in order to play?
There has to be. I think any actor will tell you who is willing to invest themselves that way. I think that every character has a little bit of the actor's personality to bring that character to life. Otherwise, you're just copying something else. And things like Starscream, for example, there have been so many people who have done Starscream before. I was terrified to take on that role. And I loved their work, the work that preceded me. And so I had to find something from me that would make it a little bit different for that version of it. And on the other side of that, I think that I take on a little bit of each of the characters too. They become part of my personality to some degree. And it's a weird relationship. And when I say that I have a lot of voices in my head and they need a safe place to escape, it's really kind of true. Because I've always, since I was a little boy, I've made up stories in my head. I've read stories out loud. I used to read to my kids out loud or read for children at their schools. And it's just something that I have to naturally do. I have to get that out of my body. So it's... Pardon me? Sometimes I hear it in his voice. Yeah, I do. I mean, I can look at a newspaper and I can start reading it and I start hearing voices of what it might sound like from different characters. Not even my own necessarily, but other characters. So, yeah. Thank you. It's an illness.
Hey, well, I'm a big fan of yours, especially from Tsunami, and I just wanted to know. There's been a lot of Toms in Tsunami. Which do you think has been the better host?
Ooh, that's a really tough question. Well, I've been all of the Toms except for one. So that's kind of a bipolar question for me. I don't know, are you talking about the look of the character? It's been kind of the same personality throughout, even when he was the little guy with the big eyes that everybody had problems with. He's still the same personality. So I mean, Tom, for me, Tom is Tom. He's been the same guy all the way along, except for Sunny Straight's version, which was a little bit different. He started. Yeah. But yeah, I love them all. I love the one I'm doing right now. I mean, the answer that I have when people ask me what my favorite character is, I'll say the character I'm working on today. And so I'm literally working on Tom. We broadcast it last night. And so I was still being Tom last night. So that's my favorite one. Hi.
Hi, I'm a big fan of you too. Like I call him Tom also. This is, of all the anime you've ever done, this is probably going to be a hard choice. What has been your favorite role?
Yeah, it's whatever I'm working on today. That's why I just said that. Yeah, it's just that I can't choose. You know, each one holds a different place in my heart and my brain. And probably the most pivotal one for me in my career has been Spike. Spike voice right there. So I had him carved into my arm because I connect with him so strongly. And Spike led to, I booked the role of Tom because of Spike and Megas XLR, if you guys see Megas XLR. That's one of the few shows I didn't have to audition for because I was Spike. And they just love the character. The guys were fans of the anime. So it's been a very pivotal thing for my whole life and my whole career. And was it 15 years later, you guys still love Cowboy Bebop just as much as we did in the very beginning. And for me, that holds a really special place in the heart. But there's so many. I mean, you know, Vincent Valentine is amazing, and Orochimaru, and Yeoman from Digimon. They're all so cool for different reasons. So I can't pick favorites. It's like choosing which finger to cut off. Okay.
Mr. Blum, how are you?
Oh, still Steve, but I'm good.
First of all, thank you for reviving, bringing back the Toonami faithful. We're very happy to have you back as Tom.
Hey, you guys did it. I was just a fan last night. Thank you.
And my question is, your voice over the years has it's changed a lot. It's very recognizable at some points, but then you do these amazing characters. It's very hard to recognize.
Good.
What do you look for in a character? Like any traits or qualities to kind of shift the tone of your voice, or what degree of change will be in your voice when you do a character?
Oh, that's a good question. Well, I design characters vocally based on what the director is telling me. I want to do what's best for the project. And there have been a few projects in recent years where they wanted me to do even two characters within the same show that sound very similar. And that drives me crazy because I want to change them up as much as I can. But sometimes they won't let me, they don't want me to do that. And I wanted to do, for Samurai Champloo, for example, I wanted to do something very different with that voice. I started a lot deeper. And I wanted to take him away from Spike's voice because it's sort of a similar kind of character. But the Japanese client was there, and they said they wanted to be close to the original Japanese. So they dialed me in to do it just a little bit higher than Spike, but basically the same character. And so I have to do what they tell me to do. And in some cases, they'll let me play a little bit, and especially if it's a new show, new characters that I'm working on, we'll get to play. But basically, they'll show me a picture, and that's where it starts. And like when I was saying, when I'm reading words and characters' voices come up, even more so with pictures. There was, I'm working on a new show now called Star Wars Rebels. It's amazing. It's coming out in September, and I'm playing this character called Zeb. And when we were first working with the character, we tried all sorts of different accents and things. And the first thing that came up to my mind was sort of a deep, sort of an English type of thing, sort of slow once in a while. And they told me we like to smack stormtroopers' heads together, so we had a bit of that roughness in there too. And so, and they didn't want a straight English accent because he's from another planet, so he wouldn't be straight English. So we put a little English, we put a little Australian, just little flavors of all sorts of things. My favorite accents. We made this conglomerate of a character, and it came out really great. And hopefully you guys will really love it. But that's where we start. We always start with one idea, and then we sort of build on that. And there's a team that helps me. And especially on a show like that, there's people from Disney, there's people from Lucasfilm, and everybody's got an opinion. They all want it to be the right thing because this is a character that's going to live on. And I take that approach with every character that I do, even if it's Soldier A, who's going to die in one scene. I try to give him as much life into that one character as I possibly can. That's the challenge. So, thank you. Have you guys heard the song Soldier A, by the way? Yeah, if you get a chance to look it up on YouTube, Vic Mignogna, who, yeah, he's a very well-known voice actor. Vic and I have done a lot of crazy stuff together, but this is one thing that he put together called Soldier 8, and talked about the character that dies in every episode. And we get one or two lines and then his life is over. But you really have to invest yourself as much into that as everything else as a voice actor. So anyway, that makes me laugh. Hi.
Yeah, Steve, I might ask you have maybe two. Just one might be a favorite, but I want to ask you, I don't know if you remember when you did Where You Friends From Musashi?
Yes.
I always want to ask you this question. How did it feel to make that because I think Barry has been my child and you were my favorite character.
Oh, thank you. Thank
Especially
you.
in the end, you were the literally the friends and everything. I still remember everything.
I don't want to break your heart, but this is an honest answer. That was one of the games that I came in. I didn't know what I was working on when I came into the studio. And they threw the lines in front of me. I had a piece of paper, and that's it. I didn't even have a picture of the character. I didn't know what I was doing. And I didn't remember what he sounded like. I didn't remember any of his lines, and I've never played the game. So for me, that's one of those things that I just came in and out of, and I was onto something else the next day. And then years later, people are coming up to me talking about this thing, and I have no recollection of it, and I feel so bad. I feel like such a bad laughter from not knowing. But it makes me feel good that it meant something to you. So, how about at the signing after? I'm going to be doing a signing after, just so that we can get everything. We've got a long line of people here. I just want to get through. All right, buddy.
I have a request.
Okay.
Can you do Bronx Battle Cry? It has mine too.
You mean the I Am Krogan?
Yes.
Okay, the thing you have to know about Grunt is that they actually pitch my voice down, so it's not going to be exactly what you hear in the game.
It's still you.
But it's I am Krogan.
So, Fran, here, can you tell us about the monologue you did for one of the Tsunami episodes on Fall Hard Sometimes?
Fall down 7 times, get back up 8. I have it here, I
Really
think.
deep. I just want to thank you for that. For those who are going through a lot, hard time, everything that really helped a lot. A lot of people. So I just want to thank you for that.
Oh, thank you, man. Well, those pieces that we did, those inspirational pieces that we did, I've talked about this with the guys from Tsunami, and that was one of our favorite things to do on the show. And we only do them once or twice a year, but it's really honestly, that's the most meaningful thing that we can do because we know how it does help people. And when I was reading that, I kind of teared up too. As a little, yeah, I mean, as a little kid, I had a rough time. I was sort of an outcast kid, and I got bullied, and I know what it feels like to fall down a lot. And when you get back up each time, you get a little bit stronger. And so that was a very meaningful piece. Would you guys like to hear that? Yeah! Okay, actually brought it with me. All right, so this is Tom, for those of you who aren't familiar. This is Tom from Tsunami. Okay, so here's the deal. Life doesn't always want to be your friend. Sometimes it'll feel like life wants to hurt you, but you can't just hide, because nobody likes a quitter. You gotta take chances. They never said it was gonna be fun or easy. Whether it's when you're totally ready, when you least expect it, doesn't matter. Life will punch you right in the face. Now you can lie there for a second, cry a little if you need to, but get back on your feet, because it's the getting back up that counts. That's what shows you've got heart. That's what helps keep you going. You fall down 7 times, get up 8, and know that we'll be right here with you. Only Tsunami on Adult Swim. All the feels, right? Hey buddy, how you doing?
Hey Steven, same person, I've been in Tsunami for all my life. I want to ask you a personal question. Do you think anime and cartoon are different from each other in how they relate to reality? Because when I see anime is more emotional as well. The same as cartoons, but they don't find them quick like they like seem separate. Like, not.
So you're speaking of anime as compared to American cartoons?
Yeah.
Yeah, or original
Animes,
cartoons? Yeah.
Cartoons, animes, like, they think it's two different.
I think they're getting closer than they were. I think back in the old days, cartoons were fun and crazy and Saturday morning for little kids. And anime has never been afraid to deal with really deep issues and issues that all of us have felt throughout our lives. Loneliness and depression and family problems and all sorts of things. All the deep issues that we go through. And American cartoons have been afraid to do that for a very long time. But shows like Avatar and Legend of Korra. Yeah, well, that takes the flavor from anime. It actually takes some of that flavor from it. And also some of the X-Men things. Wolverine, the X-Men. I got to go really deep with Wolverine and talk about his past and his feelings and stuff like that. And that didn't really occur back in the old days as much in some of the American cartoons. And so that would be the biggest difference that I would see between the two. But they're sort of coming together now with the gaming also. It's all crossing over. The movie?
Also like the movie, like the X-Men Days of Future Past.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's almost like that as well, like
Yeah.
Days of the Past.
Yeah. Well, thankfully, they're starting to deal with issues and dysfunction and real things that happen to all of us. So I think that's healthy. I think it's good, and it's a good way for all of us to process and feel connected. And it's nice, and it's great to have silly animation too. I mean, I grew up on stuff like the Flintstones and all the Hanna-Barbera and Warner Brothers stuff and Animaniacs and yeah. Yeah, it's all good, it all serves a purpose. Yeah, that's the difference for me, really. That's the biggest difference for me. They are. Yeah. As are we all.
Thank you.
All right, thanks, bud.
Hey Steve, glad to have you here in Puerto Rico.
Thank you.
I also have a request.
Yes.
Can you say Swiss cheese in Wolverine's voice?
Swiss cheese?
Yes.
Like you want me to make Swiss cheese with my claws? Is that what you're saying? All right, Swiss cheese, bub. Back off. Thanks. That makes me happy.
Hey, Steve.
Hey.
All right, I have a question and I have a challenge. Do you do challenges by any chance?
It depends on the challenge.
All right, well, let me get the question.
It doesn't require removal of clothing, does it?
No, I
Okay.
don't.
All right. Just checking. Huh? It's Puerto Rico. Woo! Too late. Oh, it's nuts. I'm not wearing pants. Sorry.
My question to you is, if Tom ever got his own show, his own anime, for instance,
Yeah.
what do you think it would be about? And my challenge to you is, for the remainder of this panel, all the rest of the questions, I want you to try and answer them in a different voice that you have done.
Oh.
Do you accept?
I do not. Because I don't have to. And what would Tom, wow, that's an interesting thing. For what kind of anime would Tom do? I think Tom would like to do a musical.
Tom in space!
Why not? Why not? Something he hasn't done before. Why not? Yeah. I'm gonna ask the guys at Toonami to write me a music. We'll do a video. Yeah. Been throwing down some beats for a while, so why not? Thank you. Hello again.
My question to you is, we all have a favorite character, Spider-Man, that you have played, but regardless of the connection of every one of the characters, a job is a job. So which is the character you hated to play regardless of the good job that you made from each one?
That's a really good question. Well, to tell you the truth, I haven't hated any characters. I've loved every character I've played. There's only one show I ever walked out on. And the reason I walked out on it is because they called it Project X. They wouldn't tell me what it was. I came in and they said I was going to be this big creature with things coming out of his head. That's all they told me. What I didn't realize was that it was tentacles coming out of his head. And it involved a little girl. You guys know what that means. Yeah. I didn't know this, and so I go into the studio, and I'm this creature, and I'm just doing my thing, just making, they said, make the creature as gross as you can, and I'm just, doing all these really disgusting things. And at first I thought, oh, this is cool, it's a cool creature. He's got like 10 eyes and all these tentacles going. And then all of a sudden they show this little girl, and the creature starts attacking her. As you know, the creatures attack little girls in these things. Hentai, for those of you who don't know what it is. So I didn't know what it was, and I lasted about 10 minutes when I saw that first scene and what that creature was doing and the sound of that little girl screaming. I just said, you know what, I can't do it. I can't do it, guys. I just can't. And here's the contract back, and God bless you, but I'm not going to do this stuff. So I walked out, yeah.
First of all, I want to say that you've made my cousin possibly the happiest guy in the world. The picture that you tweeted yesterday of the infamous Second Son cosplayer,
oh, yeah?
that was him.
Oh,
and
awesome.
He's ecstatic about it.
Beautiful.
He's still jumping with joy.
Awesome. Tell me to be careful. How does Joy feel about it? Is she okay with it?
So my question is, so like I have my own goals at the moment. Like I'm gonna be a teacher and such. But like I've always, like part of me's always wanted to try voice acting, and I've always wanted to know like, what are your tips? Because I don't think it's really viable to find a voice actor, teacher kind of thing here, voice coach.
Yep.
But like I practice, like for example, when I'm driving alone, like people probably think I'm insane because I'm just yelling out voices. Like, if you don't mind me like trying one, and
Go for it, yeah.
All right, so here's my attempt on Vegeta.
Okay.
Kakarot, I am the prince of all Saiyans.
Well, yeah, like I don't have any microphones or anything, but like just general ideas of yours on how to like improve and like how to get myself out there. Because if anything, I'd like to at least do like a minor role at least once in my life.
Well, that's a 4-hour conversation. So what I've done is I put a little thing on my website. If you just go to steveblumvoices.com, if you don't remember that, just Google my name. That comes up as the official website. On the front page, it says, how do I become a voice actor? Click that link. There's a full page of information. That'll get you started. And then follow all the links on the bottom. There's a huge blog that D. Bradley Baker wrote. And D is one of the best voice actors in the world, in my opinion, and a really good friend. And he's come up with this blog that he's worked with over the years that will save you tens of thousands of dollars and a lot of heartache and a lot of time. So just read through it, and that will give you soup to nuts, everything you need to know about the business. And it'll also give you guidance on how to find instruction. And there is instruction available online too. So even if there aren't really solid teachers here in Puerto Rico, you can find them online, and they come from all over the world, and you can actually get a pretty good education doing that. But you'll also see in there that I tell you things like do it because you love it. And that's the most important thing. You know, if you're reading for kids, reading for the blind, doing volunteer work, or just screaming in your car, you know, to make you feel better in traffic. All of it counts, and all of it is experience. And so do it because you love it. That's the main reason. And later on, if you make money at it, great. If you don't, that's okay too. I didn't make money on it for many, many years. And I didn't do it full time until I was 40 years old. So I had 5 other careers before that. So, yeah, there's always hope. Always hope. Thank you.
Hi, Steve.
Hey.
My question is, it's not technically an animated, yes it is, but the first question I'm gonna ask is, what's your favorite video game? And what was the first video game voice that you did?
Oh, wow, that's a good question. I'm not a gamer, so I haven't played most of the games I've worked on. I've worked on over 300 games now, and I've played maybe 2 of them, I think, really badly, and I have to have my kids play me to my levels just to see my characters. So I can't really have an honest opinion about playing video games. But the first, I think the first video game I worked on was called Full Throttle. It was by LucasArts, and I was a biker. I was this biker named Sid, and all I remember was this guy riding a big Harley and punching his buddy who's on a bike next to him at 80 miles an hour. They're just having this big fist fight while they're riding on this highway. It was crazy. And then after that was The Dig, which is also LucasArts thing. I played a German character named Ludwig, who got his hand stuck in the side of a mountain and he had to cut his own hand off. So that was a lot of screaming in that, and then just all kinds of crazy games after that. I don't even remember. So.
One last question.
Yes.
What is your, when it became a major hit video game, or the first contract for a major video game?
The first one that I thought was going to be a big hit? Maybe some of the Star Wars things. I've been doing the Star Wars games for a really long time, and if you guys are Star Wars fans and have been playing these games, the Stormtroopers in the games, there's 3 of us that do the voices of all the Stormtroopers. And so just getting to work on anything Star Wars made me scream like a fanboy. And I thought I had made it to the big time when I was working on that. So yeah, that was really exciting. Yeah, and then Lucas, it's interesting now that I have this new show with Star Wars coming around, because that was the very first game that I worked on was with LucasArts, and just to have anything to do with anybody that had anything to do with Star Wars was a huge thing for me. So yeah, very, very cool. Thank you.
Hi, Steve.
Hi.
I got 2 things.
Yes.
A request and a question.
Okay.
I don't know who in this room have watched Digimon. But which role in the Digimon series was your favorite?
That's pretty easy for me.
Digimon. I loved season 3 of Digimon because I was so used to playing big, scary monster kind of characters.
Including some of the other Digimon, you know, Raidramon and Blackrock Greymon, and they were pretty ferocious guys. I'm sorry, Blackrock Greymon, yeah. What did I say? I don't even know what I'm saying anymore. Even Flamedramon, a fire of courage, you know, Stentorian sort of guy with flames all over him. It was great, but Guilmon was one of the first characters that I got to play.
Who is sweet and innocent, and called his partner Takatomon. And just wanting Guilmon bread and sleepy by nappy time.
And it was one of the first things that my kids could watch, and you know, and they wouldn't have nightmares. So yeah, I love that, and that show, and I was a writer for that show too. So it was one of the very few anime that I worked on that I actually understood what was going on as I'm saying the words, because I understood the whole context. I wrote a lot of those episodes, and so I got to write for my friends too. So that one holds a very warm place in my cold black heart.
Can you say, the request is, can you say Guilmon loves Puerto Rico?
Oh, sure. This is easy. Guilmon loves Puerto Rico. Thank you. What's your name?
Ed? Anthony? Andy. Oh, Andy, I'm sorry.
So today, you're Andymon.
What's
Maybe
happening?
Space Again.
Hello, Space Cowgirl.
Okay, I got a request, a friend
Yes.
request. I love Spike.
So do I, thanks.
I was wondering if you can say I love you, Caroline, in Spike Spiegel's voice.
Sure. I love you, Caroline.
And also, I would like to troll one of my friends who's in this room.
Oh, yeah?
Orochimaru. I want you to say, Eric, I want your body.
That needs to stand up. Where's Eric?
Eric, stand up.
Hello, Eric. Eric, I want your Here comes my village, Eric.
Okay, and the last question.
I don't please no more.
Is it really helpful the tip that Spice gives? You know, like don't leave things in the fridge.
Yeah, that's a very helpful tip. And whatever happens, happens. Yeah. Don't leave things in your fridge.
I'll try to remember.
Thank you.
Okay.
What was your experience doing Garcia Hotspur voice?
Oh, Garcia Hotspur was an interesting character for me. He was originally done by a Castilian Spaniard voice actor. And his accent was so thick that they were afraid that the American audience wasn't going to be able to understand it. So they brought in the guy with the worst Latino accent they could find. And they just wanted to make it interesting and funny and make the filthy jokes work. And we said terrible, I probably can't even say what his gun was called in this room. Do you guys know this game? Okay, if you don't, you're probably too young. So, Shadows of the Damned, it's called. Yeah. And his middle initial is F, and it stands for bad word. And that's his middle name. Yeah. So take that and run with that in your minds. But it was really fun to do that, and we did it all in I think 2 days. We recorded the entire thing in 2 days. It was already done before, so they knew exactly what they wanted, and I had no idea how crazy that thing was going to be. But wow, that was pretty sick and funny. Thank you.
Hello again.
Hi.
Through your voice actor, not in the booth, but what are some of the more challenging aspects of your voice actor outside of it? Without, you're in the booth and you do the audio thing, but outside of it, outside.
Like in real life?
Yeah, in real life. Like, what are some of the more challenging aspects of it?
Of being a voice actor?
Yeah.
Well, God, I don't know. It's pretty good because I have my privacy. Here, you guys know who I am, but I go home and nobody knows who I am. And it's actually a great thing because I have friends who are on-camera actors also, and they can't go anywhere. They can't go to a restaurant or the theater without people mobbing them. And every once in a while that happens, but for the most part, I have a really private life, and I kind of like that. So there really is no downside to it. And the other great thing is that all my voice actor colleagues are my friends. We choose to be in the same room together to hang out when we're not working. So it's, I don't really see any downside to it. I have a great time. The only other thing I would say is that the audition process is a little bit rough sometimes. Because I'll be working doing 8 hours of screaming, for example, on a video game, or a couple video games in a day. And I come home and I'll have 20 auditions to record in my home studio that night. And I'll be working till 1 o'clock in the morning just banging out these auditions. And I have to be my own editor, and I'm not very good at that. You must be a voice actor. You know this pain. Okay, so you've seen this, yeah. Yeah, so it's work. It is work. But my process is that between each audition, I'll have to recommit and just say like a little prayer of gratitude that I get to audition, and then I go back into it and I do the work. And that part's a little bit interesting and difficult sometimes. And the traffic is awful. Just getting from studio to studio. I drive about 3 hours a day just to work in different studios in Los Angeles. Traffic is like it is here. It's really busy. So, yeah. Other than that, it's all good.
Guys, I'm really sorry to say, but we have only 15 minutes.
Okay, I'll try to answer fast.
Hi, Steve Blum.
Hi.
Nice to see you again.
Nice to see you.
Well, this is gonna be very fast, and I want to work as a challenge.
Okay.
You said that you're a fan of Hanna-Barbera cartoons, right?
Yes.
Have you ever saw this cartoon called SWAT Cats?
Oh, long time ago. Yeah. Yeah.
Can you try to do a T-Bone's voice?
Oh, I don't remember. I'm a lot older than you are, so. SWAT Cats was what, during the 80s? 90s, okay.
Early 90s.
90s, I was in my 30s, so I had kids and I didn't get to watch cartoons, so SWAT Cats, I'm sad to say I never saw. So I wouldn't, if you do the voice first, I could mimic it. Can you do it? What did he sound like? What did he sound like?
Okay, basically, Timo's voice is very growly voice. Not growly like his Wolverine, but I can do an example like this.
Like a badass.
Right
Not so easy, huh?
Yeah.
Keep it moving.
Come on, Racer. Let's take that Dorf cat together, and this time we do it our way. This time we do it our way.
Like that. See, guess what? You're a director now. Hello, my friend.
Hello, remember me?
I do.
Seeing as you spoke about the falling down and the whole fields aspect, I wanted to ask you, what was the most heartfelt or heartwarming experience you ever had with a fan or with a community of people?
Well, every time I go to a convention, I have these encounters, and I've had them with many of you. I just looking around the room, I've had a lot of feels at this place. And I would say that, you know, this convention, I would say overall, you guys are so open here. I mean, men, women, everybody, and where I come from, the guys don't cry. They're tough. You know, there's a few of us that do, but a lot of guys don't cry. They're afraid to show their emotions. And there have been so many men here, it's really surprised me, that have told me that, you know, I had something to do with getting through a hard time in their childhood. And we stood there and cried together, you know, and that to me gives me value. It gives me a feeling like I'm doing something that's worthwhile. I'm not just doing silly voices for cartoons, I'm actually doing something of value. And I share that community with you guys. And I share your pain and I share your pleasure. The thing that really gave me notice of this kind of community and really got me tuned in to make myself vulnerable enough to feel that was I was in New Zealand a few years back, and a guy told me that his son, this huge Samoan guy, tattoos all over him, came up to me and he told me that his son couldn't speak, he was nonverbal and he had autism, and he would sit in the corner and would just rock. And then one day he pops out of his chair and he jumps over to the couch and he's glued to the TV, and he said, "What are you watching?" And the kid just went, "Shh." It was the first interaction he'd had with him. And at the end of the show, the father's looking at him, he just can't believe that he had that kind of reaction to anything. He goes, "Daddy, Digimon, I like that, Gilmon." And the kid started speaking for the first time. And I stood with this 400-pound man and we hugged and we cried together. And the next day, he brought the boy, who's now 12 years old, it's like 4 years later. The boy is, he's fully functional. He has friends, he feels like he's part of a community, he games online, and he brought the boy and his sister and the wife, and I was doing an autograph signing, and they were way back in the line, and I saw him, and I got up, and I ran back there, and we're all just hugging and crying and the whole thing. And it opened up my heart. It opened up my heart and made me a more vulnerable person, and it changed me physically, so that when I come here, this is what fills me up, is you guys. You know, this is the reason I do this stuff now, so. Much more so than the silly voices or fame or anything. So sorry, that was a long answer, but I had to get it out.
Well, thank you for that.
Thank you.
Oh yeah, thank you. Gilmon loves you.
I love you too, Gilmon.
Hi, Steve.
What's happening, Cap?
Hey, Rico. I'm a huge fan of the TV series The Big O, so I got one question and one request.
Yeah.
My question, how was your experience playing the character?